Hey guys, so I feel like everybody should have a 22 long rifle in their collection, a pistol and a rifle. I feel like they're a nice way to introduce new shooters to guns. They are basically the cheapest guns to shoot because you can still get ammo for 4 or 5 cents a round. And honestly, I think they're just fun to kind of plink around with. So this video is obviously about the Heritage Barkeep. I've had a couple 22 long rifle revolvers in the past. I had a really old Rossi. I think it was maybe like in the 60s or 70s, the model was. And then I also had a Ruger LCRX probably 6, 7 years or so ago. But anyways, I bought this one from a guy locally a few weeks ago, and I'm excited to have it in my collection now. This will be a fairly short video, but if you're interested in learning about the Barkeep, stick around. I'll do a real quick unboxing here, and then go over all of like the features and specifications of it, and then show you how to break it down for cleaning. All right, so they obviously come in a cardboard box. Nothing real fancy or special about that. They are made in the USA in Bainbridge, Georgia. And even though this was bought used, the gun is still technically brand new. It's been unfired. So you're going to get an owner's manual. I highly recommend reading through it so that you know all the different parts of your revolver. You know how to use it safely. Inside of this, talks about lead. So if you're, obviously using ammo, it's going to have lead in it typically. You got a gun lock. You have the revolver itself. And it was supposed to come with a little ejector rod. And I'll show you what that's for in a bit. But the gentleman I bought it from said he never saw it ever in the box. So I've actually just made my own. And I'll show you what to do with this in a bit. So this is the revolver itself. As you can see, it has these wood scroll grips, two-tone frame. So the Heritage Barkeep is basically just a shortened down version of the Heritage Rough Rider. Basically all of this stuff here is Heritage Rough Rider, and then they just kind of shorten the barrel a little bit. If you know anything about the Rough Riders, you can use 22 long rifle or 22 Magnum. So that's basically what that other hole is for. You can store whatever cylinder you're not using. So again, it can run 22 long rifle or 22 Magnum. So this is a 6-shot revolver, and I'll show you the cylinder here in a bit. Heritage also makes a 9-shot cylinder. There used to be some videos on YouTube showing how to convert this, and I don't know if Heritage has made them pull it down or what, but I can't really find any now. I don't think it's as simple as pulling this cylinder out and putting the new one in. There might be other things you have to do as well, but I know it is possible to do it, to convert this from a 6 to a 9. The overall length of my model is 8.6 inches. The overall height is 4.86 inches. Overall width is 1.5 inches. The barrel length is 3.6 inches, but technically it's less than 3 inches that sticks out beyond the frame. But the barrel continues on and mates up there with that cylinder, so it goes all the way through the frame there. And a weight unloaded, 27.2 ounces, so it's pretty hefty. The frame is some type of zinc alloy, but the cylinder and the barrel are both steel, and then it has some kind of black oxide finish on it. I mentioned these wood grips earlier. If you don't like them, it's literally one screw that you pull out, and you can replace them with, there's dozens and dozens available online. If you don't like the shape of this grip, you can actually replace the whole thing and put a bird's head grip on it, just by simply removing, there's 2 screws there, there's one up there, and there's 2 back here. And this entire thing just comes off, and you can just put a different one on there. The sights on it are very old school. Basically on the front, you just have a fixed sight up there, and then just a channel or a notch back here on the rear. So this little thing right here is kind of unusual for a revolver. That is actually a safety. And if you look right now, this hammer, so that's your firing pin, like that brass looking thing down in there. This safety is preventing this hammer from coming up here and hitting this. And I'll show you how it does it here. So you see this bar thing right there in the middle? Watch when I move this. Now the bar basically goes away, and then there's our firing pin. So the hammer would get released and slam into this. But when this comes up in safe mode, it blocks that. So again, it would be like this coming in, and then it ends up hitting that right there instead. I'm going to show you guys that there's nothing in here while we're messing with this trigger. It still has a little plastic ring in there from the factory. So no ammo in it. So this old school style revolver is a single action only. What that means is if you pull the trigger, absolutely nothing happens. Okay? You have to pull the hammer back, and then the trigger will release the hammer. So there's basically 4 stages of this hammer. The first stage, or click 1, is kind of like the safety mode. Again, I would recommend reading through the manual to learn all about it. But this stage here kind of prevents you from pulling the trigger still. And even if you were able to, there's not enough force to hit into that firing pin. But I think back in like the 1800s, this is the way guys would carry the revolvers. It's just one click back. I didn't mention that earlier. There's a lot of texturing or checkering up on that hammer. Not to the point where it's rough, but I bet if you shot a couple hundred rounds, that would probably make your thumb pretty raw. But so anyways, that's phase 1. Step 2, okay, this is where you're going to be able to, this basically frees up your cylinder. So now I can freely spin it to load or to eject my rounds. And then I can also, from this stage, remove the entire cylinder for cleaning, or if I want to swap to the 22 Magnum cylinder. Stage 3 really does nothing at all. And it's a long stage 3. Doesn't do anything. And then there's stage 4 right there. Now it's basically ready to fire. And to protect that pin, I'm going to put that bar back up. And even this here, you shouldn't do this a bunch because you can damage the face of the hammer. But it's just then, it's like a super light pull. I mean, that's probably only like 2 or 3 pounds at the most. It's so light. So I'm going to quickly show you how to break it down for cleaning. You should have your safety probably on, and then go to step number 2. Then you're going to open that gate. There's this little push pin thing right here. So you have to push that in, and then at the same time, you have to pull this rod out. And then basically that cylinder will just pop out then. And then you should, if you can, try to always clean this direction. It's basically impossible if you're actually using a cleaning rod to clean this, so you do have to come through. I just usually use a bore snake when I do a revolver. But you can see how easy it is to get to everything in here. And again, this is the cylinder. I just popped that little orange thing off of it. Ideally, even with it, you want to try to clean in the direction that the bullet is traveling. And to put it back together is just the reverse. You just kind of stick that in there. It'll stop on its own. It can't fall out the other side. And then you just get that pin back in. You may have to push in that little pin right there again to slide it all the way back in there, and then make sure that does lock right there. It locked. I'm going to show you loading and unloading, and just so YouTube knows, this is not live ammo. These are spent cases. There's no rounds in this. So you can technically open that gate in any stage of the hammer, and I could put 1 round in there right now if I wanted to. All right, so I could load that one up. But the problem is I can't load anything else from this stage. You have to be in stage 2. So again, 1, 2. And now that allows my cylinder to freely spin around. So I'm going to go ahead and load a few in here. And it's hard to kind of see through the camera to do this, but all right. I think that's 5. All right, so we got our 6 loaded up. So now let's say we go through and we shoot, all 6 of those, bang, 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 bang. All right, and now we need to get those 6 out. Most revolvers come with a built-in ejector rod up here. It's almost like a spring-loaded, and basically you would open the gate and you would push this little thing, and it just comes through and it pushes out each of those shells. Well, because this has a shorter barrel, there wasn't enough room, according to Heritage, plus I'm sure it was a cost thing, but they didn't put one on the Barkeep. So that is where this comes in handy. Basically, I'm going to use this stick. This is just like a wooden skewer that I made. The one that's supposed to come with the Heritage Barkeep is much, much, much nicer. It actually has like a wooden handle, and it's some type of metal rod, but this will work just fine. And so what you have to do here, again, is put that in position 2, open that up, and then I put like a little like heat shrink wrap type thing on mine just so it doesn't like damage my cylinder or anything like that. But you just put it through here and you can see that those will just fall out then. And then you would rotate the cylinder, put it through, push it out. Rotate, put it through, push it out. And I like the idea of having something, a wooden one, versus that metal one, so I don't have to worry about it scratching up my inside of my cylinder. Looks like we still got another one in there. And I'm showing you on camera, so it looks like it takes a while. Trust me, it doesn't. A matter of just a couple of seconds, and they're all 6 out. So let's say you take this revolver to the gun range, you load it up, you shoot the first 6 shots, and then you're like, oh crap, I forgot that ejector rod at home. Well, there's still a second method in order to get those spent shells out, and it's actually really easy as well, and it doesn't take much more time than using the rod. So basically what you're going to do is break it down just as if you were cleaning it. Pull that thing out, open up that, pop that out, and then now you can easily see those 6, and then you can just take that rod there and just poke them all out. See, they all come out quick and easy, and this might even be faster than using that rod, and then just put your cylinder back in. So if you don't like this model that has this, 3.6 inch barrel on it, Heritage does make one with a 2-inch barrel, so it's significantly shorter out here. And like I mentioned, you can change out the grips, you can change out the entire grip frame. There's a company called Viridian that makes a laser. I think it mounts onto the trigger guard area and then comes up here, so you can have a laser on a revolver. But just overall, I think it's a really cool looking revolver. I love like the wood, the black, the two-tone up here. I just think it looks sweet. And overall, these are very inexpensive revolvers. But all right, guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.